Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Tim Jennette.
Tim, it's been a while since you've been on the Dice Tower. We are glad to have you here. How is life?
It is interesting with two kids, but it's
two
super
kids is
fun.
a lot.
Yeah. One is fine. Two is a bunch.
3 is the breaking point, though, for many people. But once you have 3, the sky is the limit.
Just keep having them, right?
I don't know if I would recommend that to everybody. So we'll see. Tim, for people who don't know you, tell us about yourself.
Well, currently I'm just doing the Dice Tower group moderation on the Facebook page, but I was an active reviewer and I was a contributor for Sam Healy's, token punch lunch or throat punch lunch, constantly getting confused for Roy.
Yes. Well, you have a podcast, right?
I do have a podcast. It's called Meeple Core. Still tying into my heavy metal / board game roots with naming everything, which is fun.
Well, folks, this is a short video that I do each Tuesday, or most Tuesdays anyway, talking about games that didn't make my top 100, but are great games and are worthy of being talked about. All I know is that Tim has played one of these games at least. Maybe he has played all 5. I doubt that. And I have to guess which ones. And then also, if Tim hasn't played them, it's my job to try to persuade him to do so, or maybe give up hope that he would even be interested. I think I have that right. All right, well, let's jump here to the first one. So we're starting with Ohanami. Now, this is actually pretty new to my list. I just played this earlier this year, I think. It's a little card game where you're collecting cards. It's actually very similar to the game in many ways, where you're adding cards, making them higher or lower in front of you, and then different colors score you points. Tim, I'm going to say you have not played this.
You are correct, actually, which is very sad because just the box cover alone, I'm a huge, Japanese themed player. So I love finding games that have this style artwork and everything. The Hanafuda, I guess, artwork. But
is that what it's called?
Awesome.
I didn't know the term for it.
Well, Hanafuda is just like a card game it's called Flowers, or flower card game. So it has all the Japanese cherry blossoms and everything. And I didn't even know this game existed until you posted, in the team about Who Wants to Be On. And I looked it up, and the game was fine to me. I played it a couple times, and each time I'm like, okay, well, if anybody asks, it's not like I'm going to deny it. But this looks awesome, and I'm very sad I never heard about it. And I tried to get it in before getting on the episode, but didn't get
really?
to it. Yeah, I did.
Wait, do you have a copy of it now?
I don't, but they have it on Tabletop Simulator. Somebody has it on there.
I
like to
I see.
digitalize my games, but I've bought so many games after trying them on Tabletop Simulator. They just sit on my shelf. I'm like, oh man. But
yeah, my kids really like this one. It's a good, solid family game. So for that reason, it's high on my list right now. Another simple game is Copenhagen. So this, by the way, at the top here it says re-implemented by Copenhagen Roll. Right? That's a bunch of baloney. Copenhagen here, it's ranked 1,170, but I think it's one of the best welcoming games out there for polyominoes, where you are essentially building a town. It's almost like a Ticket to Ride polyomino game where you collect cards, turn those cards in for buildings, and then build those buildings on your board like this. Really simple. I'm going to say yes, you've played this.
I have played it.
But
yes.
You've only played it online.
No, I've actually played this one in person when it came out a couple of times. And the only sad part is I haven't got to play with the deluxe version, although I'm not sure it's really necessary, but it's fun.
I will say that, so the copy I kept when I saw the deluxe version of this one with the clear translucent tile type things, I can't imagine owning the garbage a normal version. I normally don't feel that way that strongly, but wow, I'm a big fan of those acrylic tiles.
Yeah,
Queen's starting to use those in more and more games.
Yeah, I think for the Tetris or Polyomino style games, this is one of my favorite ones. I like Oriole pretty well too, but the theme just kind of meh to me. I would almost rather it be more abstract, like an actual Tetris look. But this game has a lot of cool mechanisms with the choices on what cards you get to pick and where they're at. You know, sometimes you're like, I'm just going to pick it because I have to, you know, or the little special tiles you can do. It's got a lot of cool stuff going on, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, this is, if someone came to my house and said, I've never played board games before, what's a good first one? This one is definitely one I would point out to them.
Now, I haven't played the Roll and Write, but I have played.
You are not missing anything. It is a completely forgettable Roll and Write. Let's take a look here and see what I've ranked the Roll and Write. I don't remember what I gave it. 6.5. Yeah, almost, but not good enough. I'd rather just play the board game.
Fair enough.
This one is considered to be nowadays a very welcoming game. It's one of the hottest games from last year. I might argue that it's not as welcoming, if only because it is very, very thinky. And why is every picture here have a cat in it?
Like an actual cat.
Actually, yeah, I forgot I was not sharing my screen with Tim, so he doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Let me show you this.
It's all right. I brought them all up in different tabs anyway.
All right. Well, anyhow, forget the cats here. Well, you know what? I guess people want to show pictures of this with a cat, but this is about getting tiles and placing tiles, and it's about a Calico quilt and Calico cats. This one is so strongly talked about that I'm going to assume you have played it because it was actually, it's nominated for a Dice Tower Award.
Yes, I have played it, and I did vote on it. It is really good. It's a fantastic game. Obviously, it's very welcoming just for the theme alone. I mean, who hates... I guess if you don't like cats, maybe, but...
Well, I don't think liking cats has anything to do with whether you like this game or not, because I think it's possible, and I'm speaking only in the abstract, that one could dislike cats but still like this game.
Agree, but it's not going to turn you away if it was some kind of fantasy tile builder or something, you know, where people don't ever care about that type of theme or never played board games and was like, what's all this fantasy? But I like how simple the game is. It's just mathematically complicated in your head. You're trying to do all these calculations on if I put this here, then I can't put these here, and building the grid of tiles is just super fun. And it's so... on your turn, you play one, and I think you discard one, and then that's it. It's a really simple thing.
But like you said, it's really thinking about where you put the tiles, and I really like that aspect of it.
All right. Those goals are awesome.
Next, we have Cyclades, or Cyclades, however you pronounce it, the prequel to Kemet. Now, Kemet is obviously one of the greatest games ever made in the history of humanity. This game is actually more widely renowned, but that's because this one is a little bit more Euro-y. But if you play with the Titans expansion, it changes the game considerably and actually moves it up much higher on my list. I like the base game fine. It uses the auction style from Amun-Re to win god tiles. It has a little bit of combat, and it has awesome monsters that are more of they just show up and give you a quick special power and leave. But it's still fun. The Titans adds a more dudes on a map style to it. Tim, this really feels like a game you would play, so I'm going to say yes.
I have played this. However, I have not played the expansions, just the base game. And it's so good. It's such a good game.
Do. So if you like it without Titans, I really think that would increase your enjoyment of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try it out. I do like that auctioning. I've never played Amun-Re, but it's the same auctioning system as in Vegas Showdown, correct?
Yeah, Vegas Showdown, Stockpile.
Oh yeah, Stockpile does. That's right. So I like the fact that it's a kind of like a dudes on a map, but you still have this bidding situation going on to basically bid on the type of action you want to do that round. It's so good.
Yeah, I think it plays well. I think it's held up well. I wonder if Matago is going to do a second edition of this one also, since they did one of Kemet. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, There's a few flaws, I think, in the game. It's when someone's about to win, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, you kind of try to push them back down a little bit, but you can certainly be in a situation in this game where you go, oh, someone's going to win, but I know it's not me.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I agree with your earlier statement where you said it's held up well, because this game is, what, 20 or 12 years old or so? 2009?
Yeah, 2009 sounds right. Yep, 12 years old. That's
fantastic, because some of the games back then kind of deteriorated with other games taking the same design and elaborating on it and making it better and better. And this thing, I actually only played it a couple of years ago, and I felt like it could have came out right then on how well it's designed.
And that also has really good components. I like how every faction has little soldier dudes, but they all look different. They're not just different colors. And the little monsters. And the art, I think, is really well done. It's a Katala game, so you know Z likes it.
Yeah, miniatures are great. I'm definitely a miniatures painter. And I don't own a copy of this, but if I did, it would absolutely be painted.
Yeah, mine's painted. I'm excited about that in the Dice Tower library. And
did Vernon do that?
He probably did. I have so many different people painting at this point that it's not always easy to remember, but I was condensing the different games, and Cyclades being painted. It looks better than Kemet currently. Now, do you like Kemet better, or do you like Cyclades better?
I haven't played Kemet, which is very saddening. I should definitely play that.
All right.
What about the expansion that ties them both together? Is that just where you can use the monsters?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. I'll be honest. I think I used it once to use the Kemet monsters in Cyclades, and like 10 times to use the Cyclades monsters in Kemet. Because in Kemet, your monsters actually run around the board fighting each other. In Cyclades, they kind of just show up, do something, and then go away.
Gotcha.
So I tend to like the permanent monster feel better. Speaking of monsters, that's our next thing here, Mage Wars Academy. Now, I want to be very specific. I'm covering both Mage Wars and Mage Wars Academy. Mage Wars is the original game where you had a big giant board, and you had a summoner card on that board, and you fought someone else's mage. And there was, I don't know, I think there's 10 different mages at this point. And each mage has spells that you could use, and you build a spell book. But unlike Magic the Gathering, you don't draw the cards. You can pick any card you want as long as you can afford it. So it gives you tons of choices, but there's not as much luck. But there still is luck in the game because as you summon creatures and spells and go around and fight each other, you roll dice to see who hits each other. So I really liked this game, but it was a fairly involved game. Mage Wars Academy got rid of the board and just had you put your summoner out and creatures and fighting each other. And I felt it did a better job and brought it here. So, Tim, I'm going to guess that you technically haven't played this, but you have played Mage Wars.
I have played Mage Wars Academy one time, specifically when I bought it. Since then, I have not played it, but I bought it all specifically for Mage Wars Arena, which is in my top 3 games ever. So I've definitely played Arena a lot of times. It is a phenomenal game. My number one game, if you're including miniature games, is War Machine, and this is a really similar feel in a board game format, or Arena was. And Academy's fine; it's good. I think if you don't really care for lifestyle or hobby style games, maybe stay away from Arena because it is a little bit deep and it's a little bit longer. I mean, you're talking like 3-hour games if you've never honed your experience with the game. I can play Arena in 45 minutes. So, but you kind of have to in certain tournaments and everything, right?
Well, you're playing Arena in 45 minutes, but that's having spent 30 to 45 minutes putting that spell book together.
Well, even on top of that, but spending hours upon hours playing and getting quicker and quicker and understanding every card in the game. And right, because if somebody comes to the table and you've never played against whatever class that you're playing against, you don't know what kind of spells they might play. There's just so much going on. And the quicker you are with knowing the cards and what's out there, and you don't really have to read it. It's just like in Magic, right? You play Magic for the first time, you got to read all the cards, especially if you're not playing with like a starter deck. But every card in this game has so much text that if you already know what it does, then you're good. Even if you're an experienced Mage Wars player and you play a card, or a card comes out you've actually never seen really, you kind of just read the name of it and guess what it does, because it's so well translated into that environment that it's just.
And I also really like how different each of the mages is.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you're playing, there's one mage who barely has any creatures they summon at all, and it's all about them going out into battle. And then there's
That's
some
the warlord, right?
Yeah, the warlord. But there's also the guy. Who's the guy? The mentalist doesn't have many creatures either. Is it the mentalist?
Like the psychokinetic guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the main difference is they got rid of the board. So it takes away some of the tactical nature of it, which I get. You know, it's just putting out creatures. It's a little closer to Magic the Gathering that way. You just have creatures fighting each other and the summoner. And in the other one, you're setting up walls of fire, and you move your summoner around. You have area attacks and things like that. But I didn't mind it. I felt it was streamlined and faster. But in a perfect world, probably Arena is the better game of the two.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Academy is definitely. If I went up to somebody and asked them what type of games they play, and they say collectible card games, definitely going to recommend Academy over Arena. But if they play like Warhammer 40K or War Machine or any of those type of miniature games, I really think they would, because they're already used to that lifestyle type of game where you put a lot of effort and time into the game outside of playing it. And Arena would be, my first choice out of those two for those type of people. So it depends on who you're recommending it to, but they're both really good.
All right, Tim. Well, I forgot to make a poll for the people's choice. Let me do that now to see which of these they like better here. So I'll quick type that in. Which of these do you like best? So we have Ohanami. We have Copenhagen. We have Calico. We have Cyclades. Feels like this is games that start with the letter C. And Mage Wars Academy. So since I'm going to let people vote on more than one here, but which one do you think people would do?
I'm really thinking that Calico is going to be number 1, and Cyclades is going to be number 2, then Copenhagen, and it's really just a toss-up on the last two.
I agree.
I'm not sure how...
I would like to pick a different one, but I would be really surprised if Calico does not win here. Just because it's the newest, it's newer than Ohanami, but it got a lot of love. AEG republished it, so
right. Did Ohanami even get a lot of love? It seems like I'm not saying I know everything, but it seems like it flew under the radar to a degree.
Well, it's number 2 here. So number 1 is Calico. By the way, if you want to vote on this, folks, the link is in the live chat here. Calico is number 1, then Ohanami, then Cyclades, then Copenhagen, then Mage Wars Academy. I'm surprised Mage Wars Copenhagen's down so far.
Yeah, me too. Maybe because it's the shine of it's kind of worn off.
Huh. Weird. Well, there you go. But you were right on Calico. All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching. Tim, if people want to find you on the internet, where would they go?
Well, you can check out the Meeple Core podcast. And as of right now, that's pretty much it, unless I start doing some more stuff with the Dice Tower. So
I'll keep an eye out for that, folks. Thanks so much for everybody for watching. I'm trying to find my little thing here to shut this down, and that particular window has disappeared off my screen, so this is never going to end. There it is. All right, thanks so much for watching,
24-hour tape.
We'll be back in 45 minutes at 3 o'clock with Shoots and Marbles. It's time to roll the marbles. Come back and see us then. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel.
Tim Jennette.
See you next time.